Let's have some fun on today's show. Training camp is just a couple of days away, and on today's Philadelphia Eagles. Now, 5 former Birds that Howie Roseman in Philadelphia could reunite with prior to training camp. Let's start here with Robert Quinn. The trade for him just before the NFL trade deadline last year did not reap its benefits for Philadelphia. He comes to the Eagles and honestly barely did anything. I will say this, stand-up guy from all the interactions I saw and had with him during the Super Bowl week and the lead up to that game against Kansas City, but his game just did not translate from 2021, where he had a career best year of 18.5 sacks, 49 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, and 4 forced fumbles. He was so good that year. And then last year, he was non-existent. Wasn't really a good scheme fit with what Matt Eberflus wanted to do in Chicago. He gets traded to the Eagles, and even though Philadelphia led the NFL with 70 sacks, 15 more than any team in the NFL, Robert Quinn really wasn't able to contribute to that. Here's where it gets interesting, though, and this is why I have Robert Quinn on this list. That year that he had his career best year of 18.5 sacks, guess who was his defensive coordinator? Sean Desai. Guess who the Eagles' defensive coordinator is now taking over for Jonathan Gannon? Sean Desai. That was the lone year that Sean Desai has been a DC in this league, and Robert Quinn played great. Same system, Vic Fangio disciple. Could Robert Quinn come back if an injury does happen for Philadelphia or prior to training camp? I highly doubt it, but certainly interesting because of the connection to Desai there. Now, I'll tell you this. If the Eagles do make a signing prior to training camp, after training camp, at any point on the calendar year, we're going to cover it. For instance, Dennis Kelly got into a deal to return to the Eagles after he was drafted by Andy Reid in 2012, and we talked about it here on the show with some really great insight. If you want to stay informed and in the know on all things Eagles, just hit that sub button. Former Eagle number 2, Jason Peters. Jason Peters still wants to play, and Jason Peters continues to defy Father Time. What this guy's been able to do throughout his career is really impressive. He's 41 years old, and last year, yes, he did go to the Dallas Cowboys. He played well playing at tackle and at guard. And look, the Eagles obviously have some questions about their offensive line depth. The Eagles signed Dennis Kelly Wednesday of this week. They could have brought back Jason Peters if they really wanted to. Jason Peters probably would have been the better option as compared to Dennis Kelly. They probably didn't just because of the overwhelming name value. But last year with Dallas, I'm telling you, Peters did play pretty good football. In 2021, he played for a bad Bears team, but once again, he certainly produced. 15 games played, 77.5 Pro Football Focus grade, a pass blocking grade of 77.9, run blocking grade of 70.7, 6 sacks allowed, 853 snaps, and then last year with Dallas, 70.3 overall grade, pass blocking grade of 60.5, run blocking grade pretty solid, league average is 70, only gave up 1 sack despite the pass blocking not being all that great with 235 snaps. Of course, the bodyguard is a legend in the city of brotherly love. He was with the Eagles after starting off with the Buffalo Bills. He actually went to Arkansas, and he started off his career as a tight end. He moves to offensive tackle and is probably going to be a Hall of Famer in this league. Eagles' career started off with Buffalo, as I said, signed by Andy Reid and Company in 2009. He's with the Eagles through 2020. 7 straight Pro Bowls from 2009 to 2016, 4-time All-Pro throughout his time in Philadelphia, 148 games, 148 starts, holding it down at that left tackle spot as the anchor of that Eagles offensive line with, of course, guys like Jason Kelce. And unfortunately for him, he was not able to finish the season in 2017 because of that knee injury. But Lane Johnson, this was an iconic moment coming out of the tunnel prior to the Super Bowl, dreams and nightmares. Playing Lane Johnson, who's homies with Jason Peters, held up the number 71 jersey and ran out the tunnel onto the field with it. That goes to show you the respect that he had and has for Jason Peters. So his nickname, as I said, is the bodyguard. I want to put you to the test here. What is the best nickname in sports history? Let me know down in the comment section right now. Former Eagle number 3 who Philadelphia could reunite with, the guy who we saw this past year, Ndamukong Suh. He has said that he's down to play. He's just not going to go through training camp at this part of his life when he's 34 years old and he's accomplished everything that he's accomplished. The Eagles last year were bad against the run. And that's why they brought in Ndamukong Suh. That's why they brought in Linval Joseph. Suh's numbers certainly don't go crazy popping off the screen at you, right? But I actually thought he had a pretty decent impact. And throughout the playoffs, played well. And in the Super Bowl, he did get some significant snaps. I like his aggressiveness. 8 games played, 1 sack, 10 tackles, and 2 quarterback hits for the Eagles. His career has been a really, really special one. Defensive Rookie of the Year out of Nebraska in 2010. Started his career with the Lions. 3-time first-team All-Pro. 2-time second-team All-Pro. So 5 All-Pro selections and a 5-time Pro Bowler throughout his career. Said that he'll still play. He's just not going to participate in the grunt work because he doesn't need to up to this point. I also like what he's doing off the field. He's really into helping people save their money and their finances and has a bright future after he decides to hang up the helmet. Linval Joseph, like Ndamukong Suh, another Eagle who played for this team last year, who could return if some injuries do happen because you can rely on those veterans to at least be competent. Had an opportunity to spend some time with him leading up to the Super Bowl. Great dude, great personality. It was a joy to be able to interact with him. Like Suh, 8 games played. They came really consecutively together. 1 sack, 20 tackles, 1 quarterback hit, a 2-time Pro Bowler in his career with the Minnesota Vikings, and a guy who is very good at stopping the run. If you want to interact with me on Twitter and Instagram, you can find me on there at Chase_Senior. I love chopping it up with the Bird Gang and my fellow Eagle brethren, so hit me up there. Don't be a stranger, slide into DM. Say what's up at Chase_Senior. I just want to trigger people here, and I want to get people fired up. Carson Wentz. Can we talk about Carson Wentz here? Partially because I want to look back at what Wentz did back in 2017. And look, I'll apologize. I couldn't help myself. It just felt odd only talking about 4 players. I was looking at the top 100 free agents left. And there really weren't any other Eagles out there other than Carson Wentz. Last 4 years, it is insane how fast he has dropped off and how bad he's become so quickly. Literally, he shreds his knee in 2017 with the Eagles, and it has been a precipitous decline since then. And now, I'm not even sure if he has an NFL future. He's been said to want to work out for teams and still play, but he was abysmal for the Washington Commanders last year. But let's be real here, and let's give him some credit. If it wasn't for Carson Wentz in 2017, the Philadelphia Eagles do not have their only Super Bowl and Lombardi trophy in franchise history. He was great. Would have won MVP if he stayed healthy. 11-2, 33 touchdowns to 7 picks, a 7.5 touchdown percentage, led the NFL. He was also top 10 in yards per attempt. He was so good on third downs. We should have seen the red flag that year when his completion percentage was well below league average at 60.2. You can say whatever you want about Carson Wentz now, and he ended up kind of being a flake. Him leaving Philadelphia did happen on sour terms. The trade of him, the Eagles were able to net a lot of really, really good assets, but in 2017, this guy was fabulous. 3rd in MVP voting, shredded his knee at the LA Coliseum in that great win against the Rams that opened up the opportunity and the door for Nick Foles to have a great playoff run and win that Super Bowl. But let's show credit and give love where love is due and respect where respect is due, and say that Carson Wentz, if it wasn't for him in 2017, the Eagles don't get home field advantage, and without that, they probably do not win a Super Bowl. But yes, he's not going to come back to this team. I just wanted to trigger y'all in all honesty and get that comment section going. So how will you remember Carson Wentz? Will you remember him for 2017 or how he left this organization? Share your thoughts with us. Don't forget to subscribe to the show. We're closing in on a pretty big milestone here. Not many content creators out there covering the Birds have 50,000 subscribers, and we're getting there.